When you look at the world for a moment, you notice something strange. Everyone is in debt. The U.S. owes over $38 trillion, the highest in its history. The European Union carries almost $14 trillion. Japan, about $9 trillion. Even oil-rich or export-heavy nations like Saudi Arabia, China, and Germany live beneath gigantic piles of debt. And this brings us to the disturbing, intriguing question. If everyone is in debt, who is everyone indebted to? The strange answer is this. The world doesn't owe money to someone else. It owes money to itself. But that doesn't mean everyone benefits equally. With global debt exceeding $315 trillion, 3 times the size of the world economy, understanding how we got here requires rewinding the story. And it doesn't start on Wall Street, it starts in a war. 1694, the birth of modern debt. England was at war with France. Gold was gone. The king was desperate. So he turned to wealthy merchants, borrowed money, and promised continuous interest backed by future taxes. To formalize this, the Bank of England was created. That moment accidentally shaped the modern financial world. Governments gained the power to spend money they didn't have, and merchants gained a tradable promise. The government bond was born. France followed. The Dutch improved the idea. The United States financed both its revolution and its expansion with it. Debt stopped being failure. It became credibility. If you could borrow, you could govern. Jump to today. 3 centuries later, debt is the world's unofficial export product. US, 38+ trillion. Japan, 9+ trillion. Global debt grows by almost 1 trillion every few months. Everyone owes. Everyone is owed. So again, who holds the other end of the rope? Who really owns America's debt? Of the U.S.'s $38 trillion, about half is publicly held, and 2/3 of that belongs to American investors. Banks, pension funds, insurance companies, investment funds, the Federal Reserve. Around $9 trillion is held by foreign investors, mostly Japan, approximately $1 trillion, and China, approximately $800 billion. So yes, America owes China, but it's only about 2% of the total. In truth, America owes mostly America. Treasury issues bonds, investors buy. The Fed sometimes buys them and creates money. Americans pay interest. Interest flows back to American funds. A system like a snake eating its own tail, yet somehow alive. And this pattern is everywhere. Japan lends to the U.S. The U.S. lends to Europe through the IMF. Europe finances developing nations. Those nations hold reserves and indirectly lend back to wealthier economies. A global circle of promises, a poker table where everyone borrowed chips and no one leaves. The invisible layer, confidence. Behind bonds is a huge network of funds, banks, and central banks. Their power isn't money. It's trust. They decide who borrows cheaply and who must pay a premium to survive. When trust collapses, crises erupt. Greece, 2010, repeated Argentine defaults, Sri Lanka's collapse. And suddenly, creditors step out of the shadows. The IMF, rating agencies, anonymous bondholders. Yet the system restarts every time. Because modern debt isn't meant to be paid off, only rolled over. Governments never plan to erase debt. Old bonds are paid with new ones. That's refinancing. Debt, the world's heartbeat. No major nation will ever eliminate its debt. Not the US, not Japan, not anyone. Not because it's bad, because the system depends on it. If the US paid off all debt tomorrow, the global economy would collapse. Treasuries would vanish, liquidity would freeze, the dollar supply would shrink, deflation would explode. Paying the debt would destroy the system. So when politicians talk about eliminating debt, they sell an illusion. The goal isn't zero debt. The goal is preserving belief. Economies run on trust, not numbers. The final truth. the world owes money to itself is only half true. Because debt's burden flows one way, from taxpayers and workers to funds and investors. Debt isn't only between countries, it's between social classes. Creditors aren't villains, debtors aren't victims. They're parts of the same engine. But the real question is, what if the engine runs out of fuel? What if new debt can't cover old promises? Then the abstract question of who is the real creditor points at a simple answer. Not China, not Wall Street, not the IMF, all of us. Debt has become money itself. Countries create it, banks multiply it, investors trade it, people use it. Once it meant bondage, now it means balance. But if that balance breaks, the illusion fades. And what remains is a promise that can't last forever.